Hey, what is going on, guys? Today we are going to look at programming presets on the Unity6, and we're going to be looking at like a song-specific preset. So in this case, that means each switch will do different things and call up different sounds. And so today we've got the HX Stomp hooked up, and we've got the Mobius hooked up, and we'll show you how we can program different CC changes and PC changes, sending to these pedals so we can replicate different sounds for each section of the song. So as you can see here, when you press on a switch on the Unity6, you have an active Scrbl, so it shows you what was last sent out from the Unity6. So you can look down and you know that the sounds you are listening to are the sounds you have programmed underneath the chorus or bridge or verse. Okay, so that is why the screens change as you press switches. So let's dig in here. Let's take a look at programming our first song-specific preset underneath the verse. So we tap the home screen, we go into programming, and then we want to program switches. Here you can assign Scrbl strips and bank info and like all kinds of other things, which you can see. We go in depth in that in the UI overview video. But for now, we just want to program presets. So we're going to select presets, and as you can see here, we have different presets for sending expression, bank send, each one of the switches, or the BPM knob. In this case, we want to program the verse, and so we will select switch 1. So now in programming mode, you can use the touch screen, but we find it much faster to use the BPM dial to program, so you can scroll around and select the different press actions and message types. In this case, a press action is when is this preset going to fire? Is it going to fire when we press the switch, when we release the switch, when we long press? So for now, we're just going to keep it simple and go to a press. So whenever we press the switch, the messages that we program are immediately going to fire. And now we need to know what message types do we want to send. Okay, so we have a CC message, a CC toggle, PC toggle, and then this list goes on and on and on. But generally speaking, Midi is broken down into three really basic message types, which is a CC and a PC. There is note, like note values. You don't see that very often when programming guitar pedals, so we're going to skip over that for now. So let's just talk about a CC value. A CC means controller change, so that usually means like changing a value on a knob. So you can send a message to set any knob value, whatever you want. It would be the same thing for like simulating pressing a foot switch. And then we have a PC message, and PC stands for program change, but you can really think of that as preset change. So this basically, whenever you want to call up a different preset on another pedal, we would use a preset message. So that's it, real simple, CC and PC. And then you noticed we had toggles. And so really all that does is whenever you press the switch, it'll toggle back and forth between two different values with the CC or two different presets with the PC. We're not going to go into that in the video today. We're going to keep it real simple. We're going to talk about CC messages and PC messages. Okay, so now that we've explained what those CC and PC messages are, I'm guessing you're probably asking yourself right about now, well, what do I know? How do I know what CC messages control this parameter knob, or the depth or the level? That information you can find within the user manual of each one of the pedals, okay? So I won't pull that up right now, but I do want to show you how the HX Stomp works. Let's actually just start real easy. I know that if you want to call up a snapshot, it is, let's go ahead and confirm here. It is, you have a number and a value, right? So the number is like what knob it is, or the feature, in this case, a snapshot. And then a value lets you assign where that knob is set at, or in this case, which one of the snapshots is turned on. So we're going to, this is where it's really easy to use the encoder because you can scroll slowly or you can fast scroll. I know that CC number 69 accesses the snapshots for the HX Stomp because I went to the user manual, went to the Midi section, and now they tell me number 69, and then they say there's three values. Value 0 for snapshot 1, value 2 for snapshot 2, and it goes 0, 1, and 2. So value 0 calls snapshot 1. So let's just do that. You know, we can assign the values here, but let's just leave it at 0. And then the last thing so now let's just give you an example of how we can call up this snapshot. We'll just start real simple here. But one last thing I want to show you is you want to make sure that each one of your pedals is on its own MIDI channel. That way it knows we're talking to this pedal and not the Mobius. So I've already given my channels names. So you can see the rest of my channels are blank here, but the Mobius is in channel 2, HX Stomp is in channel 1. So now we've programmed message 1 to the HX Stomp. Whenever we press, we are going to turn on snapshot 1. Okay, so let's go out and let's just try this. Make sure it works. So we hit the back arrow on the home button. Now you should be seeing snapshot 1 activate as soon as we hit the switch. And it does, right? So we know that value 69, or number 69, value 0 is for snapshot 1. Okay, let's also talk about another CC message we want to control for this preset. Let's change the send, return, and mix levels, and then we're going to call up a different preset on the Mobius. So let's actually dig in and program each one of those. So everything we want to do is going to be its own message. The Unity6 has 32 messages to choose from on a per preset. So right now, message 1 was snapshot 1, but just so you can see things changing, we're going to change this to snapshot 2. So we roll down here, we change that to value 1. All right, so that is message 1. Now, if we want to change the values of each one of these, we need to make sure we go to the second message. All right, so now the second message is empty, and we're going to assign a value to change the send parameter. So, like I said earlier, you go to the user manual, you'll find out what the number is, and then the value will be like where you would set the send level where you want it to be, okay? In this case, the HX Stomp allows you to choose whatever CC message you want. And so we're going to show you how to do that real quick. Just know that each pedal could be different, and you got to go to the user manual to find out how that works. So let's assign a CC number to the send. We go to controller assign. The parameter is send, and then we come over here to a MIDI CC. Right now it's set to 4. I want to change that. You can give it any number you want, right? This is just telling, we're going to go to 10, okay? This is just telling that send parameter is going to change whenever you send a CC10 to here. So instead of the user manual telling you what CC number is assigned to each parameter, you get to actually choose yourself. Okay, so we have done that. Let's back out of there. And now this is changed white because it lets you know you've got, this is assigned to a controller message. So what we do is we come into our programming. We want this to happen on the press as well. We want to send a CC message. We've confirmed it's to the HX Stomp. And remember, we just chose that it is number 10. So we're going to go to number 10. And then down here, excuse me. And then down here in the value, MIDI will range anywhere from 0 to 127. Okay, so if we were to set this at 64, that would be the halfway point. So it would also, if you're controlling a knob, it'd be like setting the knob straight up at noon, okay? So what we've done is we've assigned the send, because it's CC number 10, and we've given it a value of 64, which would put it in the middle of its range, okay? So the range here goes from plus 6 dB all the way to negative 60. So somewhere in the middle of there, which you may not be able to see it on the screen, but there's a little line. We're going to be somewhere around this negative 27-ish. Okay, so now that we've got this programmed in, let's back out of here and let's try this just to confirm that it works. So right now we have the send at negative 9 dB. Now we have 2 messages programmed, so we should see the snapshot change, and we should see the send level change somewhere to the middle of the mix. And just as we expected, we have negative 26.7, so that was around that negative 27 I was saying. And then our snapshot changed to number 2, okay? So great, let's throw in some values for the return and the mix. So let's come in here, controller assign, we want to change that to return. Give this a CC, and we're just gonna go to number 11. We'll just go right up in line, okay? And then the mix, controller assigned, we change this to mix, make that a CC, so it responds to the CC message, and we'll call that 12. Great. All right, so now let's program our next 2 messages. Do that real quick. So we have underneath switch 1, we have message 1, which is snapshot. Message 2 is our send level. Let's go to message 3. We want this to happen on the press as well. Again, it's a CC message. We assign that number to 11. And then in this case, we want to boost the return. Let's go max. So we go all the way up, save that. Then for message 4, this will be the mix. So we're going to assign that to the press as well. So all of these messages will be sending as soon as you press that switch. Another CC message, we assign this to 12, and then we're gonna make this value 100. So that will be, we'll see where that turns out mix-wise. It'll be less than 100%. 100% would be 127, okay? So then, let's make sure all of that works. We'll come back out. We'll rechange our snapshot so we can watch that snapshot change. Now we should see all 3 of these parameters change and the snapshot whenever we press a switch. You can see all of that happens immediately. We have boosted the return to max. We set the minimum at 100, so a value of 100, which ends up being 79% on their level here, and the snapshot has changed. Okay, the last thing we want to do for this preset, we want to call up a preset on the Mobius. So let's talk about PC messages now. We're just going to call up a simple preset change on the Mobius. What's interesting about PC changes is they usually go in numerical order. So if it starts at PC number 0, that would be the first preset on the pedal. PC number 1 would be the second, number 2 would be the third, and so on, right? So inside here, it's not very easy to see what PC number you would call up to access bank 10 and preset B. So what we've done inside the Unity6 is a really unique feature, is whenever you're changing PC messages, you will see it change on the pedal, and you will also be able to audition and hear that sound as you're programming. Okay, so now that we have programmed several messages underneath this preset, as you're scrolling through here, you can actually see what has been programmed to each message type. We're going to get to message 5, and we are going to assign a press. I've already have this done, and a PC, and we've set the channel to Mobius 2. So I've already got that set up. But what I was saying earlier, we wanted to show you what is neat is that now you don't need to know the PC number for any one of your pedals, because whenever you go to change this preset, you will see that the presets change on the pedal. So we can just dial up whichever preset we want. It's activated. We'll be able to hear those changes. Once you find the preset that you want, we will just hit save, and that's the number that we will be sending when we fire this preset. So let's back out of this and show you what all we have done for the preset underneath switch number 1. Let's change over here so we can see the changes made. So we have now sending 5 messages. We're sending a snapshot message, 3 more for changing parameters on the HX stomp, and then we're sending a PC message on the Mobius. We've assigned all of these to a press of a switch, and as soon as we press this switch, you'll see that everything changes instantaneously. So let's go ahead and do that and see if you can catch it all. As you see, everything changed. Our preset on the Mobius, snapshot, and our 3 CC messages have changed on the HX stop instantly, all underneath a single click of a switch. Okay, so now we've gone pretty in depth on what CC and PC does, but let's now set up a few other presets, but let's get some loops involved as we go through here. Let's change this screen so you can see the preset names, and we'll do the screen preset names are here. So let's go to switch 2. As we go into programming, we're going to hit the presets, and now we're going to hit switch 2. Okay, so we're going to do just a couple of things real quick through here. We're just going to change a preset on here, because I really want to show you more about the loops. So what we do in this case is, again, we need a press action. So we're going to press. We are going to turn on, I want to turn on loops 2 and 4, okay? So now what we have done is anytime you press the switch, you're going to turn on loops 2 and 4. It's just that simple. It turns them on and it'll turn off any other loops that aren't highlighted here with 2 and 4. We can also send a PC message. Let's send this to the HX stomp. Okay, it's highlighted by default, and we're going to call up this acoustic preset, okay? And then one more message type. We're going to message 2. You will see the loops have turned off because this is an empty message type. As soon as we highlight this as a press, this lets you know that whenever you press the switch, loops 2 and 4 will come on. Okay, so we're going to send another PC message, but this time to the Mobius. And then we are going to call up this preset 2 here, the slow channel. Okay. Let's change presets. Let's change presets. And then we can back out of here, and now you can watch what happens. So we press switch 1, you can see the snapshot engaged. It's on that preset. It goes to our 2 preset. None of the loops have turned on because we haven't assigned that yet. But when we hit this chorus button, you can see our loops come on immediately and our 2 presets have changed. Now over here, we have assigned this, when we assigned this to press, we had all the loops off. So you can see that that immediately turns your loops off. So we don't have to, this is a feature that we call loop grouping. We've gone into great detail on this on another one of our videos, but loop grouping is turned on by default. And that comes in handy whenever you're doing song-specific presets, because you don't ever have to tell the pedal which ones you want on or off. You don't have to ever tell the pedal which ones you want to turn off. It just automatically knows which ones you want on, and it takes care of the rest of them. Okay? So far you can see we're jumping around between presets. And in this verse, or in this preset, you can see that we actually didn't assign a preset change, so that's why this isn't changing. But anyways, let's talk about more of the loop grouping. We're going to go to the bridge preset here now, and we're going to change different loops, right? So 2 different PC messages and different loops. Switch 3, message 1 is going to be a press. It's going to send a PC message to the HX stomp, and that'll be this SVT bass, right? Whatever we have on here. And we also want to turn on, how about loops 4 and loop 6? Okay, our second message will be a press as well. Another PC message to the Mobius this time. And this is going to be this medium preset, and the loops 4 and 6 are still coming on because this is all assigned to the press. All right, so let's back out of here and we will see this does loops 2 and 4, this turns the loops off, this turns on loops 4 and 6, 2 and 4, off. So now you can see between the 3 different switches, that loop grouping of the loops makes it nice and easy to turn on only the loops you want on, and the rest are taken care of automatically behind the scenes. Okay, so the last thing I want to show you is we're going to create a preset here underneath this empty switch 4. I want to show you how to program the Scrbl strip, and then we're going to do one more thing. We're going to activate an internal message within the Unity6. So it's not really a Midi message, but we're going to turn the boost on for, let's call this solo. Okay, so let's come into programming. This time, instead of going to programming the presets, we want to program the Scrbl strip. So we hit touch Scrbl strips. We highlight which Scrbl strip number we want. So we can scroll down here, access 4. We can change the color of that Scrbl strip to anything we want, whether it's white. I'm gonna just leave it red for this example. And then we have a default name and a toggle name. We'll get into the toggle name later, but that's used whenever you're toggling back and forth, whenever you have a toggle message assigned, like a CC toggle or PC toggle, like we spoke of earlier. In this case, we just want to do a default name, and we're going to call this solo. So we just type in the name, hit the enter button. That changes. Super quick, super easy. All right, now let's program this preset. So again, we are going to go to preset 4. We're going to change 2 different PC messages, and we're going to assign 1 loop, and then I think we'll turn on a boost. So let's just start here with, all of this will be a press at the moment. We are going to do a PC message to the HX stomp. Let's turn on this single preset. Let's turn on loops 3 and 5. All right, message number 2. Let's just do a press again. Assign that to, the PC assigned to the Mobius. And we'll come through here and select whatever random preset for this example. Okay, now message 3. We're going to turn on a boost. So like I said, this isn't truly a Midi message. It's just activating a feature within the Unity6. But we want this to happen when we press it as well. And then the message type would be boost on, right? So we're turning on a boost. Notice how the Midi channel up here is grayed out because we're not actually sending a Midi message. This is, again, an internal feature within the Unity6. And then our value down here, we can adjust how many dBs of boost we want to turn on. Let's just turn on 5 dBs. Okay, so let's back out of this. You can see that we have our different loop groupings between our bridge, our solo, our chorus. So now when we activate the solo, you'll see the 2 presets change. And then you can see the boost LED is activated here on the Unity6. Okay, so this is a good time to point out the Unity6 only does what you tell it to do, right? So it's not going to try to interpret what you think it should do. And so what I mean is when we go back to the verse, notice how the boost stays on. The chorus, the bridge, the boost is always on. In order to fix this, we want to make sure that in these other presets, we assign a message to turn off the boost. That way it doesn't stay on the whole time. Okay, so this is really simple. We just come into programming, hit our presets. We're gonna go to switch 1. In this case, we can hold down this message number. We can jump right to the last message. And then we will assign this a press, and then we will scroll down here. And in this case, we are going to use the boost off message. All right, so message 6 is just going to turn off the boost. So now as you see, we have the boost engaged. When you come here, the boost will turn off. Now we can do that for the other 2 switches, which you probably should because you don't want your boost as part of your sounds here. But that really just wraps up kind of how we do programming on the Unity6 and wraps up this video. So if there's something I've left out, or if you have any specific questions about programming and what the message types do, yes, definitely drop your questions down below in the comments and we'll get back to you, and we will see you guys on the next one.